always find Mincha on Yom Kippur afternoon to be one of the most sacred times of the day. There's a quietness to it, a sense of exhaustion, but the kind that happens between adrenaline rushes. Like in labor, the moment between contractions, a moment of rest and regrouping and regaining strength. A moment of calm clarity amongst the reflection, pleas, and anxiety of the liturgical journey that we're on today of Yom Kippur. It's at this very moment on Yom Kippur we declare what is most important to us, that we question what holiness is and can be in our lives. On Yom Kippur afternoon, we read parts of the book of Vayikra, Leviticus, which is also known in our tradition as the Holiness Code. Here at BJ, we read an alternative text, which is Vayikra 19, while other communities read a traditional reading, Vayikra 18, which is the laws and boundaries around sexual relationships. While much of the sexual prohibitions of the traditional reading applies deeply to our world today and is an important reminder of sexual ethics and holiness, this section also includes one of the most painful prohibitions, if not maybe the most painful of our Torah, that a man shall not lie with another man. A line that causes more senseless death, shame, hate, and pain than any other, and which is the absolute antithesis of what holiness is in our world today. As the Machzor Lev Shalem adapted from our dear member and teacher, Judith Plaskow, she says, this passage in Vayikra 18 contains important insights that contemporary Jews can affirm. We need some boundaries in our sexual relationships. Sexual behavior is connected with the ethical character of our social world. Leviticus 18 seeks to implement these ideas in its own time and place, but we need to find ways to express those insights in the context of sexual holiness appropriate for the 21st century. As I think about the reality of our world today, the fight for democracy, the senseless war, the fight against human rights, I think about this very question, not only about sexual morality, but on our holiest day of the year, during our high holy days. What is holiness in the 21st century? In her award-winning podcast, On Being, host Krista Tibbett interviews people of different faiths, expertises, and understandings of the world in hopes of exploring humanity's ancient questions, newly alive in this century. These are the questions at the heart of this podcast. What does it mean to be human? How do we want to live? And who will we be to each other? In an interview with Barbara Brown Taylor, former rector of the Grace Cavalry Episcopal Church of Clarksville, Georgia, she's also a professor and an author, Tibbett begins to explore the idea of holiness, specifically the need today for a new definition of holiness. Taylor says, the hunger for holiness in terms of a sense of being rooted, grounded in a shifting ground. To be holy is to keep one's balance while the earth moves under our feet. To be holy is to keep one's balance while the earth moves under our feet. She goes on to say, I like it much better than religious or spiritual, to be a seeker after the sacred or the holy, which ends up for me being the really real, but not just the materialist really real, but the really real that's got layers all the way down. Taylor speaks of holiness that anchors us as the tsunami of darkness and chaos and hate and injustice sweeps us off the ground. Holiness, as we think about Yonah, which we'll read, is exactly what I think he's trying to run away from and which the text actually shows us he gets swept up off of his feet and into the storm and into the mouth of the whale. Holiness is the really real, not just the tangible, she says, but what makes us real, the essence of who we are at our core. It goes straight to our hearts, to our souls, straight to the source, the sparks within us and each and everything around us, the Holy of Holies within everything and everyone. So what is holiness? This is exactly what we will read right now in Vayikra 19, also known as the Holy of Holies of the Holiness Code. Respect your parents, your elders. Treat all with respect, even those dearest to you. Keep Shabbat. Bring holiness into time. Don't worship idols. Don't worry about fame and money, materialism. Remember what is important. Understand and engage in rituals in Jewish space and in Jewish time. Say you are sorry. Feed the poor and the stranger. Don't steal. Don't take advantage of others. Do not use God's name to create hate, shame, destruction, or injustice in our world. Treat others well in your business interactions. Don't take from others what is theirs. Judge fairly and judge honestly. Stand up for humanity, for their lives, their ability to live life with rights, dignity, and justice. Don't take vengeance. Don't hold grudges. And finally, at the very end, we hear, Ve'ahavta l'recha kamocha. Love your fellow as you love yourself. What and where does holiness come from? It comes from love. A love of others, but it starts with a deep love of ourselves. Not the ego, but the spark of the divine, that holiness within each and every one of us. Perhaps this reading hints at one way to answer the questions we will soon ask during the liturgy of Ne'ilah, and which sound similar to the questions at the heart of the On Being podcast. Ma anu, what are we? Ma chayenu, what is our life? What is our goodness? What is our righteousness? What are our achievements? Our achievements? What is our power? In the quiet of Mincha, if we listen carefully to the Holy of Holies, the teaching of Vayikra 19, we might begin to hear an ancient call to what holiness can be today, to how it can ground us in a scary world, to how holiness and our search for it can help us answer these profound and existential questions that we'll soon ask as we beg for life, a life of meaning, a life of purpose, a life of holiness at the edge of the gates of prayer. Gamar Chatima Tova.